Hello friends, myself is Lalit Sharma. Today I am going to take up the topic relations for mathematics students of class 12th. The topic is quite difficult as it relates to pure mathematics, but today I am ready to explain the topic in the most easiest manner. So before starting with the topic, let us recall some elementary prerequisite knowledge which is required to understand the concept more briefly. Firstly, let us introduce what do you mean by Cartesian product of two non-empty sets. Suppose A and B are two non-empty sets, then how we shall define their Cartesian product A cross B? It is the collection of all ordered pairs of the type A comma B, where A is coming from A and B is coming from B. Now the question arises, why this is called an ordered pair? The ordered pair is a pair where the order in which elements are appearing is fixed. Here it is necessary that the first element should belongs to the first set and second element should belongs to the second set. That is, we cannot write A comma B as B comma A. Okay, fine. So one immediate observation which I make is A cross B is not equal to B cross A. That is, this operation is no more an commutative operation because A comma B is not equal to B comma A. If we consider B cross A, then B cross A contains all elements of the type B comma A, where the first element B belongs to B and A belongs to A. So the important point is in which the sets are appearing. Similarly, the elements will be placed accordingly. Okay. Now the important point is about the cardinal number of the Cartesian product. Cardinal number of the Cartesian product A cross B is defined as cardinal number of A into cardinal number of B. Since we know that multiplication is a commutative operation, therefore this can be written as n of B into n of A, and that is equivalent to say n of B cross A. So we observed one important point, that Cartesian product is not a commutative operation, but the cardinal number for both the sets are going to be same. Okay, so now we are in a position to define the definition of a relation. For relation, let A and B are any two non-empty sets. Let A and B are any two non-empty sets. Then we define a relation R from set A to set B as a subset of the Cartesian product A cross B. That is, whenever two non-empty sets A and B are given to us and we are asked to find or we are asked to define a relation from A to B, तो हमें क्या करना है? We just have to make sure that the elements of R ultimately belongs to A cross B. That is, whatever is available in R, that has to be a part of A cross B. Now, suppose for example, we have A 1, 2, 3 and suppose we have B is equal to 4, 5. Then we know how to define A cross B. This A cross B is the collection of all pairs of the type 1, 4, 1, 5, 2, 4, 2, 5, 3, 4 and 3, 5. This is my A cross B, that is the Cartesian product. Now if I want to define a relation from A to B, I make sure I have to choose elements among these elements only. That is, suppose I define relation denoted by R1 as 1, 4, 3, 4, 3, 5. Now this is a relation. This is a relation from A to B. Why? Because this R1 is ultimately a subset of A cross B. Okay? Now suppose I take R2 is equal to 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6. Then this R2 is not a relation from A to B. The reason is because this R2 is not a subset of A cross B. Because this R2 is not a subset of A cross B. So what is important for a relation? The main important point about relation, whatever elements you are writing, those elements ultimately must be a part of the Cartesian product A cross B. Okay, so in this manner we can define so many relations from a set A to set B. Now the obvious question arises, can we talk of a relation from same set to same set? That is, suppose any non-empty set A is given to you, and suppose we want to discuss a relation, we want to define a relation from the set A to itself. That is, I'm talking of a relation from A to A. Yes, we can define. It's a particular case when B is equal to A. The definition remains same. The relation from A to A is defined as a subset of A cross A. In that case, B is replaced by A. Now, suppose I'm having set A as 1, 2, 3. And I wish to define any relation from A to A. So I make sure the element must remains within A cross A. So suppose I take R1 as 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 1. Clearly, all of these elements are part of A cross A. So I will declare this to be a relation from A to A. But if I take R2 is equal to say 1, 3 and 2, 4, then this is not a relation. Why? Because again we go beyond A cross A. That is not allowed in relation. Okay, so this was the preliminary definition of a relation from one set to another set. Now the important point arises that what are the types of relation? That is the most important topic in class 12, and there will be a question of 6 mark for sure in your exam related to this topic, that is types of relation. So firstly, I am going to introduce the very first type, that is called reflexive relation. What do you mean by reflexivity? Okay, let me explain. Suppose R is a relation on any non-empty set A. Let R be a relation on any non-empty set A. That is, it is very clear from the definition that R is a subset of A cross A. We say R is reflexive if and only if A comma A must belongs to R for every A in A. Now, I am underlining this part that the condition must be true for every element A belongs to A. That is, we cannot leave any element of A, because if we want to disprove the condition, only one counter example is enough. So, for example, let me take the set A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. And the question is, define a reflexive relation on A. So when I take reflexive relation, what is the requirement? The requirement is all the pairs of the type A comma A must belongs to R. Now, what are the choices for A in capital A? A can take value 1, it can take value 2, it can take value 3, or it can take value 4. These are the only 4 possibilities. Now, if I want to define a reflexive relation, what I need to make sure that all elements of the type A comma A must be available in R1. So I must enter 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3 and 4 comma 4. This is my requirement. Other than this, you can put any element of A cross A along with these elements. Suppose I will take 1 comma 2, 3 comma 4. Okay, fine, no problem. Now this relation is a reflexive relation. Why? Because the necessary condition which I have written, that all the ordered pairs of the type A comma A, where both coordinates coincide, first tuple as well as second tuple, must belongs to the relation for every A belongs to A. This every is very important, beta. The most important point is for every A. That means if I want to disprove that the relation is not reflexive, I need only one A for which A comma A is not a part of the relation. For example, suppose in the same set A, I'll take a relation R2 which contains elements say 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3. Okay, now the question arises, is this relation reflexive? क्या ये relation reflexive है? नहीं. Why? Because there is an element 4 which is a part of A, and we are having 4 comma 4 not a member of R2. Just see this. This is very important, beta. Now, in this manner, if you have understood the definition of reflexivity, now you can construct examples at your own. You are not limited to a particular type of example. You can give any example. Okay, fine. Suppose this is the example related to the roster form, in which we can write the elements explicitly. Suppose I want to give example in set builder form. So we can give example in set builder form also. For example, let us take A to be set of all integers. The symbol for integers is Z. Now I'll define a relation R. Now I define a relation R. R contains all those ordered pair xy such that the difference x minus y is divisible by 3. This is my relation. My relation is, this relation contains all those ordered pair xy where the difference of these two elements is divisible by 3. Now the question arises, is this relation reflexive? Let us check whether the relation is reflexive or not. According to the condition that a comma a must be available in R for every integer a. This is what I need to check. Now, how will you write it? This is very important. Why? Because the topic is related to pure mathematics. तो बेटा आपको ये बहुत important point ध्यान रखना है कि जब भी आप लिखेंगे, the language has to be clear. Because अगर आपने such that, there exist, कहीं भी गलत लगा दिया, the whole definition get changed because one symbol can change the definition of whole line in pure mathematics. Please remember this. Now, what we need to check for reflexivity? We need to check that all elements of the type a comma a must belongs to R for every a belongs to Z, because the underlying set here is the set of integers, that is Z. Now we say a comma a will belongs to R if and only if the difference a minus a is divisible by 3. This is the definition which I have given. If you see the relation बेटा, एनी एलिमेंट एक्स वाई कब आता है आर में? जब उनका डिफरेंस 3 से डिविजिबल हो. तो सिमिलरली ए कॉमा ए आर में कब आएगा? जब द डिफरेंस इज डिविजिबल बाय 3. एंड इन इंटीजर व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस ऑफ ए विद ए? इट इज 0. व्हेन 0 इज डिविजिबल बाय 3, व्हेन 0 इज डिविजिबल बाय 3, एंड यू विल राइट विच ऑलवेज होल्ड्स. विच ऑलवेज होल्ड्स. व्हाई? Because you know that 0 is divisible by any finite quantity. The resultant is always going to be 0. Therefore, yes, relation is reflexive. Therefore, yes, relation is reflexive. Okay, fine. Let us consider one more example, which is very important from class 12th board's point of view. Let us consider the example that is on the set of real numbers. I am taking here, my set is the set of all possible real numbers. And let us define again a relation R1 as all those ordered pair xy such that x is less than equal to y square. What is this relation? This contains all those ordered pair xy where the first element is less than equal to the square of the second element. Again, the question is this relation reflexive? If yes, prove it. And if no, then you can proceed with the counter example. Because you know there is a very important point. अगर आपको कोई रिजल्ट प्रूव करना है, then you have to prove it in 100% cases. That means there should not be even one case left. But if you want to disprove something, किसी को डिस्प्रूव करना बड़ा आसान है. क्यों? आप उसके अगेंस्ट एक भी काउंटर एग्जांपल प्रोड्यूस कर दो कि देखिए इस सिचुएशन में ये चीज होल्ड नहीं कर रही. तो इन मैथमेटिक्स वी कैन नॉट टेक इट एज अ जनरल केस. Okay, so here also the question is show that R1 is not reflexive. So I need to produce at least one counter example which will violate this condition. So let us check how we can proceed with the example. Now you take any real number. Suppose I take half. Half is a real number, agreed? Half is always going to be a real number. Now I need to check half comma half whether it belongs to R or not. If it doesn't belongs to R1, if it doesn't belongs to R1, then we say the relation is not reflexive. Now what is, I'll write half comma half will belongs to R1 only when half is less than equal to half square. Agreed? Because any xy will belongs to R1 when the first element is less than equal to square of second element. So here also, because x and y are equal, so half must be equal to half square. This is the required condition. But this will lead us to half less than equal to 1 by 4, which is a contradiction in mathematics. Why? Because 1 by 4 is not greater than 1 by 2. It is in fact less than 1 by 2. Because you know that in quotient, when we increase the denominator, the number get lesser. Okay, fine. So this is one counter example. Similarly, you can give several counter example. You can take 1 by 3, you can take 1 by 4, you can take any real number and you can check that this is not a reflexive relation, and this is how you can construct so many other examples. Please don't restrict yourself to some particular example. Don't try to cram the example. Just try to understand the concept and construct examples at your own. That will increase the creativity in mathematics, and that is what required. Because after going into the college, or when you face some entrance exams, they won't ask the set question. They will ask some general questions. For example, let us take one general question. In class 11th we have studied complex numbers also, and we have studied real numbers also. And when we go to the interviews like MCA, or when we go to the interviews like even in IIT, when the counseling session is there, they will use to ask the question from students that you have studied both number system, real numbers as well as complex numbers. Can you give one basic difference between these two sets? Can you tell me what is the difference between complex numbers and real numbers? Trust me, 90% of the students are not able to answer this question. Even after doing class 12, even after doing their mathematics honors, and when they are facing the interview for MCA, they are not able to answer. Why? Because at school level, they won't go into the concept. They just, they just cram the examples. They just know how to get the polar form done, or how to get the square root of a complex number. But they won't understand the basic question. And this is the basic question. कि जब आपने दोनों number system पढ़ लिए, so you should know what is the difference between them. Anyone can ask, and this is a relevant question. So now I'll tell you what is the difference between these two sets. Suppose you are having two real numbers A and B. Suppose you are having two real numbers A and B, which are distinct. What are the possibilities? Either A is bigger than B, or B is bigger than A. Only there are two possibilities. आप दुनिया में कोई भी दो नंबर सोच लीजिए जो कि रियल नंबर्स हैं, कोई ना कोई उनमें से बड़ा होगा. You can immediately tell कि कौन सा बड़ा है कौन सा छोटा है. Okay. Now suppose I am taking two complex number. मैंने लिया 1 minus iota and 1 plus iota. Tell me which one is bigger, which one is smaller. No mathematician in this world till date is able to tell that which number is bigger, which number is smaller. Why? Because comparability is not available on the set of complex number. We can plot them on the Argand plane, on XY plane. We can plot them, but we cannot compare them. This is the main difference which differentiate these two sets. And the students even at college level don't know this concept. Because the reason is उन्होंने स्टार्टिंग से उस कॉन्सेप्ट को कॉन्सेप्चुअली तो पढ़ा ही नहीं, उन्होंने तो सिर्फ क्रैम कर लिया कि ये चीजें पेपर में आनी है, ये चीजें पढ़ लीजिए. बट ट्रस्ट मी, व्हेन यू टेक मैथमेटिक्स as a conceptual subject, only then you get into the deep, and only then you will score marks also, and you will gain knowledge also. Okay, so remember this question may not come in your exam, but this is something which is very, very essential. When you're studying something, you should know the basic about that, isn't it? Okay, fine. So now proceeding with the topic, I have defined the reflexive relation. Now I come to the next type of relation, which is called symmetric relation. Okay, fine. Now what do you mean by symmetry? Again, let A be any non-empty set. Let A be any non-empty set. We say a relation R on A is symmetric if whenever A comma B belongs to R, then B comma A also belongs to R. This is called symmetry. A relation is said to be symmetric relation if whenever the ordered pair AB belongs to R, the reverse tuple BA should also belongs to R. Okay, so whenever this condition arises, when hypothesis is created, only then we look for the conclusion. If hypothesis is not created, we trivially take that relation to be a symmetric relation. Now again, I'm going to explain my concept with the help of few examples in roster form also and in builder form also. Firstly, let us consider the example in roster form, because it is easy to visualize, it is easy to understand the example in roster form, because we have, we have explicitly elements written, so we can easily see the nature of the elements. Again, so let us take the example. Let A is equal to the set 1, 2, 3, 4. And let us define a relation R on A as 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3, 4, 4, 3. Is this a relation? What is the requirement for a relation? That this must be a subset of A cross A. That means the elements which are appearing in R, ultimately the elements must be a part of A cross A, and that is the case. You can check, you can verify that each ordered pair is ultimately an element of A cross A. Okay, fine. Now I need to check whether this relation is symmetric or not. So what is the requirement for symmetry? Whenever an ordered pair AB belongs to R, we have to see the reverse tuple BA should also belongs to R. So now let us check element one by one. 1, 1 belongs to R. Here A is equal to B. So therefore 1, 1 belongs to R is same. It is trivially satisfies the relation, that has to be a symmetric relation. Now if I see 1, 2, 1, 2 belongs to R. So for symmetry, I need to check the reverse tuple 2, 1 should also belongs to R. And we see that yes, 2, 1 and 1, 2 both are available in the relation R. Now similarly, if I say 3, 4 belongs to R. So what is my requirement? 4, 3 also belongs to R, and it is also available. So all the condition which is required for symmetry of a relation is satisfied. So we declare this relation to be a symmetric relation. इस relation को हम क्या कहेंगे? Symmetric relation, because it satisfies the property which is required for symmetry. That is, whenever A, B belongs to R, the reverse tuple B, A has to be in R. Now, you know, whenever we have to understand a concept, we should give example 1 in which property is there, and we should produce one example where the property is not available. Only then we can compare and we can see where is the problem. Now let us define one more relation. Let us denote it by R1. The relation is all ordered pairs 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 4, 3. Now again the question is this relation symmetric? So again I'll proceed with my definition. What is my requirement? Whenever an ordered pair AB is there, I need to check that whether BA is there or not. Now 3, 4 is there, then 4, 3 is there. This tuple satisfies the condition for symmetry. But 1, 2 is there, but 2, 1 is not available. So you're getting my point? 1, 2 is there, but 2, 1 is not available. Therefore, I will declare this relation to be a non-symmetric relation. The relation is not symmetric. Why? Because there is one pair 1, 2 for which the reverse tuple 2, 1 is not available. So this is an example which is not a symmetric relation, and in above example we observe that it is a symmetric relation. This is how we define symmetry of a relation. Now this example is in roster form, which I am again saying it is easy to understand, it is easy to give example in roster form. But now let us see the example in set builder form also. So let us consider a set A. Again the set A, let us take the set of all possible integers, and let me define a relation R as all those ordered pair XY such that their difference is divisible by 5. Difference is divisible by 5. Now he says check whether this relation is symmetric or not. So what I need to check for symmetry, I'll assume that let A, B belongs to R, and what I need to check that the reverse tuple B, A should also belongs to R. So let us say let A, B belongs to R. Let us take let A, B belongs to R. What does this implies according to the definition of relation? That A minus B is divisible by A minus B is divisible by 5. If a number is divisible by 5, it must be a multiple of 5. So we can write A minus B is equal to 5m for some m belongs to Z. Now we are having A minus B is equal to 5m. What is my requirement? B minus A should also be a multiple of 5. Because once B minus A becomes a multiple of 5, I can declare that B minus A is also divisible by 5, and hence the ordered pair B, A also belongs to R. Now see, how to get B minus A from A minus B? Multiplying by minus on both sides. So I have multiplied by minus on both sides. What I got? It will be equal to B minus A. And can I write this as 5 times minus m? Can I write by using the homogeneity in the set of integers? I can write this set as B minus A is equal to 5 times minus m. Now we observe that if m is an integer, then minus m is also an integer. Agreed or not? अगर 2 एक integer है तो minus 2 भी एक integer है, 3 एक integer है तो minus 3 भी एक integer है. तो similarly, if m is any integer, then negative of that is minus m is also an integer. So I can declare this minus m as 5m1, where m1 is equal to m with negative sign belongs to Z again. So what I have been able to prove? I have been able to prove that this B minus A is again a multiple of 5. And this is my requirement, because this is equivalent to say that B minus A is divisible by 5. And therefore, I can say B comma A also belongs to R. So I've been able to show that whenever AB belongs to R, then BA also belongs to R. So it is always difficult to explain the relations in set builder form, and it is always easy to explain the relation in roster form, because in roster form we write the elements explicitly, so we can see each and every element. But in set builder form we do not write all the elements, we only write one common property through which all the elements are related. Okay, fine. But generally you see that when there is a question of 6 marks, it is always in set builder form. There must be a question of 6 marks from either of 3 topics, either from relation or from function or from binary operation. Firstly, I am explaining relation. Then in my later video, I'll explain the meaning of function, invertible function, one-on-two functions, and then binary operation, existence of identity element, existence of invertible elements, etc. Okay, fine. So now, till now, I have explained what do you mean by a relation. What is the meaning of relation? From a set A to set B, a relation R from set A to set B is simply defined as a subset of the Cartesian product A cross B. This is my first point. Then I have given few examples of relation. Then the second important topic is what are the types of relation. So firstly, I have defined reflexive relation. What do you mean by reflexivity? By reflexivity, we mean a relation R on any non-empty set A is said to be reflexive if and only if all the ordered pairs of the type A comma A must belongs to R for every A belongs to A. This is important, for every A. That means if I want to disprove a relation is not reflexive, what I need to produce? I need to produce only one counterexample, that there is only one A for which there is at least one A, not only one A, there is at least one A for which A comma A is not a member of R. Then I come to the symmetry part, that is when a relation is said to be symmetric. A relation is said to be symmetric whenever AB belongs to R, then reverse tuple BA should also belongs to R, and this property should also be there for each and every pair AB. That means if I want to disprove a relation is not symmetric, I produce one counterexample. See, here A comma B belongs to R, but the reverse tuple BA is not a member of R, therefore we declare the relation is not symmetric. Now we come to the last important type of a relation, that is called transitive relation. When a relation is transitive, I am going to explain now. Again, I will write let R be any relation on A. Now I'll write simply A. It is understood that A is a non-empty set. Only then relation is relevant. Now let R be any relation on A. Then R is said to be transitive. Then R is said to be transitive if whenever A comma B belongs to R and B comma C belongs to R, then A comma C also belongs to R. You getting my point? The relation is said to be transitive whenever A related to B and B related to C, then A is also related to C. You can see, this example in your daily life also. Transitivity means transit a relation from one to the other. Suppose I am related with someone and that someone is related to someone else, so indirectly I am also related with someone else. This is called transitivity. But the important point in transitivity, which generally students forget and they are not able to express it properly, is whenever this hypothesis is created. That means whenever you have a situation where A comma B belongs to R and B comma C belongs to R, that means whenever you have a common link B between A and C, only then you will look for the conclusion that A comma C belongs to R. If hypothesis is not generated, then you will trivially take that decision, then you will take trivially that relation to be a transitive relation. Okay, I am again repeating that transitivity is relevant only when hypothesis is created. Hypothesis means when A comma B belongs to R and B comma C belongs to R. When this situation arises, only then we look for the conclusion that A comma C also belongs to R. If hypothesis is not generated, I will trivially declare that relation to be a transitive relation. Okay, fine. So let us again define some examples so that the concept will be understood clearly. Now again, let us take A to be the set 1, 2, 3, 4. And let me define a relation R1 as 1 related to 2, 2 related to 3, 1 related to 3. Now, what I am observing in this particular relation, 1 related to 2, 2 related to 3. If I take A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2, C is equal to 3, then this hypothesis is generated. B is a common link between 1 and 3. You can observe that in this particular example, this 2 is a common link between 1 and 3. Why? 1 related to 2, 2 related to 3. So what is my requirement as conclusion? 1 must be related to 3 and it is available in the set. You see that 1 related to 2, 2 related to 3, then 1 related to 3 is available. So I will declare this relation to be a transitive relation. If I omit this 1, 3, if I simply take 1, 2 and 2, 3, the relation is not transitive. Why? Because 1 related to 2 is there, 2 related to 3 is there. So we required 1, 3, which is not available. So therefore we declare this relation to be a non-transitive relation, or simply the relation is no more transitive. Okay, fine. Again, let the point which I was raising, that only when hypothesis is created, we look for conclusion. So to give clarity about that, let us consider this example. Let us take R2 as 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. And someone asks, is this a transitive relation? So what is my requirement? That I have to search for hypothesis first, that A related to B, B related to C. Can you find any such condition in this? Beta 1 related to 1 is simply 2 related to 2, 3 related to 3. So there is no condition arises that A related to B, B related to C. There is no common link between two elements. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So hypothesis is not created. So I will declare this relation to be trivially transitive, because in my earlier definition I have clearly explained that if hypothesis is not created, I will assume that transitivity is trivially holds. Okay, so I will declare this R2 to be a transitive relation. This is important. This is where students generally make mistake कि sir 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 transitive कैसे हुआ? ये ट्रांजिटिव इसलिए हुआ because the hypothesis is not created, and if hypothesis is not created, we take the conclusion to be trivially true in all the possible cases. Again beta, this example is in roster form, and again I am repeating, it is easy to understand the examples in roster form, but now I will explain the concept by using some set builder form also. So let us take the example which is in set builder form. Let us take again A to be the set of integers, and let us take R to be a relation which contains all those xy such that x minus y is divisible by 5. Let us say, consider a relation R which contains all those ordered pair xy such that the difference is divisible by 5. Now I need to check whether the relation is transitive or not. So what is hypothesis that I have to assume in this case, because this is set builder form. So I will say let A comma B belongs to R and B comma C belongs to R. I will assume this कि A comma B भी R में है और B comma C भी R में है. Show क्या करना है? What I need to show that A comma C should again be a member of R. This is what I need to show कि A comma C भी R में होना चाहिए. Now, अगर A comma B R में है, then what is the definition of the relation R? What is the requirement? Any pair AB when it belongs to R, when the difference is divisible by 5. और कोई चीज अगर 5 से divisible है, तो 5 का multiple होगी. Let us denote A minus B is equal to 5 times K1. Say, again, by the same argument, B minus C is also equal to 5 times K2. What are K1 and K2? They are integers. What are K1 and K2? They are integers. Now, what I need A comma C should belongs to R. So my requirement is A minus C should be again a multiple of 5. How to get A minus C from the given condition? I will add this and this respectively. So if I add the respective side, I get A minus B plus B minus C is equal to 5 times K1 plus 5 times K2. So this will leads us to A minus C is equal to 5 times K1 plus K2. B get cancelled. minus b plus b, that will get cancelled, and on LHS I'll have a minus c, on RHS I'll take 5 common, so it becomes k1 plus k2. Now we know that integers are closed under addition. What is the meaning of this? If we take any two integer and we add them, we'll again find a unique integer. So therefore I will say that this is equal to 5k, where what is k? K is the sum k1 plus k2, which is again a member of Z. So therefore I've been able to show that this relation is transitive. Why? Because ultimately I've shown that my a minus c is also a multiple of 5. I've been able to show that this a minus c is also a multiple of 5. Therefore a comma c again belongs to R. So this is my requirement for transitivity, that if a comma b belongs to R and b comma c belongs to R, then the conclusion is a comma c also belongs to R. And this question is very important. Why? Because this types of relation leads us to a topic that is called equivalence relation. So a relation which is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. If all the three properties are simultaneously satisfied, we'll declare that relation to be a equivalence relation. So generally, in boards, the question of equivalence relation will be there, that they will define a relation R on any set and they will ask, prove that the relation is going to be an equivalence relation. So what is the requirement? You need to show reflexivity, you need to show symmetry, you need to show transitivity. So I have explained all the three relations: reflexive relation, symmetric relation, transitive relation, in both forms, in roster form also and in set builder form also. So I will advise you, whenever you are asked to give example, you always try to get a roster form in picture. Why? Because it is easy to give example in roster form. So now my last topic, that is equivalence relation. What do you mean by equivalence relation? I've just told you that a relation which is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. That means a relation which satisfies all the three relations simultaneously is going to be an equivalence relation. Reflexivity, symmetry, transitivity simultaneously satisfy honi chahiye. That means if I want to disprove that a relation is not an equivalence relation, इन तीनों में से किसी भी एक प्रॉपर्टी को ड्रॉप करा देना है कि या तो रिलेशन रिफ्लेक्सिव नहीं है, या सिमेट्रिक नहीं है, या ट्रांजिटिव नहीं है. बिकॉज होने के लिए तीनों होने चाहिए और नहीं होने के लिए कोई भी एक हम ड्रॉप करा सकते हैं. तो सबसे पहला एक बोर्ड में जनरली 1 मार्कर क्वेश्चन आ जाता है, गिव एग्जांपल ऑफ एन इक्विवेलेंस रिलेशन. द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन विच can be of 1 mark, and this question may be asked in your board exam, that give example of an equivalence relation. So the most easiest equivalence relation, let us take A is equal to 1, 2, 3. You must define set first, because the relation is always on a set. So you must define what is the set you are taking. So I am taking A equal to 1, 2, 3. I need to define a relation which is reflexive, symmetric and transitive both. So firstly, what is the requirement for reflexivity? 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. This is my requirement for reflexivity. Okay, fine. That all the elements of the type A, should belongs to R for every A. Here A can take value 1, it can take value 2, it can take value 3. So we need 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 must be a member of R, which is there. Now I'll just close the bracket here. So I'll take only this set. Now this is reflexive. Okay, fine. This is symmetric also. Why? Because whenever A related to B, B related to A trivially satisfied. So getting my point? If 1 is there, 1, 1 is there, then the reverse tuple is also 1, 1. It is also available. So this relation is reflexive as well as symmetric. Now the last property which I need to check is the relation is transitive or not. For transitivity, what is my requirement? That if A, B belongs to R and B, C belongs to R, then the resultant element A, C also belongs to R. And I have told you, if hypothesis is not generated, conclusion is always taken to be true. In that case, you can easily observe that 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So there is no such condition where one element becomes link between two elements. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. There is no such situation. A related to B, B related to C, arise ही नहीं हुई. If it is not arise, we take this relation to be trivially a transitive relation. So this relation satisfies all the three properties: reflexivity, symmetry and transitivity. Therefore, I will declare this relation to be an equivalence relation. And in fact, it is the smallest equivalence relation on the set A, which is 1, 2, 3. This is the smallest equivalence relation. Sometimes, the question will be let us take A equal to 1, 2, 3 and define the smallest possible equivalence relation. Then this is the smallest possible. Why this is smallest? Because these three elements are necessary. Because in तीन elements में से अगर मैंने एक भी drop किया तो reflexivity ही drop हो जाएगी. So then the relation cannot be an equivalence relation. Okay, fine. Again, this is in set builder form. Now suppose I want to give example in roster form. Set builder form. Sorry, this example is in roster form. Now suppose I want to give example in set builder form. So I will take let A is equal to Z and let us define a relation R as all those xy such that x minus y is divisible by 3. And I have shown that this example is reflexive. This relation is reflexive also, symmetric also, and transitive also. So this can be taken as an example of a equivalence relation in set builder form. Generally, this question asked in your examination that take A equal to the set of all possible integers, define a relation R as x minus y is divisible by, I can take any number 1, 2, 3, 4 and I can take any positive integer n. So this is the generalization that whenever x minus y is divisible by n, it is going to be an equivalence relation. Now, there are several examples. We have to understand that this relation is not restricted to 4, 5 or 10 examples. We can define so many examples and the concept has to be understood firstly, because then you can create examples at your own. Now, there are few very, very important examples from board point of view for class 12th mathematics. The first example which generally asks that let us take A is equal to the set of real numbers and we define a relation R1 as all those xy such that x is less than equal to y square. And they will ask show that this relation is neither reflexive nor symmetric nor transitive. ये relation ना तो reflexive है, ना symmetric है, ना transitive है. तो I need to produce one counter example to support my answer in each subsequent case. So firstly, if I look at reflexivity, so I say 1 by 2 1 by 2 does not belongs to R1, where 1 by 2 belongs to R. Why? Because if 1 by 2 belongs to R1, then 1 by 2 must be less than equal to 1 by 2 square, which is not true. Which is not true. Because 1 by 2 is in fact greater than 1 by 4. It is not less than equal to 1 by 4. So this counter example will work for reflexivity. Now come to symmetry. In symmetry, what we need to show that if AB belongs to R, then BA also belongs to R. So I need to produce an example where AB must belongs to R, but the reverse tuple BA should not belongs to R. So if I take 2, 1, so what I observe, if I take 1, 2, not 2, 1, if I take 1, 2, then can I say 1, 2 belongs to R1? Because 1 less than equal to 2 square is true. You know that 1 is less than equal to 4, that is a true mathematical statement. But if we consider 2, 1, so what I need, 2 is less than equal to 1 square. This is the condition which I obtained according to a definition, which is 1. But 2 less than equal to 1, this is a contradiction as far as mathematics is concerned. So therefore, I have produced an example which supports the argument that the relation is not a symmetric relation. 1, 2 belongs to R1, but the reverse tuple 2, 1 does not belongs to R1. Similarly, for transitivity, this is for symmetry. And for transitivity, I can consider so many examples, say 16, 4, 2. All of them are real numbers. Okay, fine. Now 16, 4 are related and 4, 2 are related. Why? Because 16 less than equal to 4 square, which is 16, is true, and 4 which is less than equal to 2 square, 4 which is true. Why? Because equality is there. So 16 less than equal to 16 is true mathematically. Similarly, 4 less than equal to 4 is true. So what is my requirement for transitivity? A related to B, B related to C. I need to show that 16, 2 is also related, but 16 less than equal to 2 square, which is 4, not true. Because when 16, 2 will belongs to R1, when A less than equal to B square, when 16 less than equal to 2 square, that is when 16 is less than equal to 4, which is not true mathematically. So I have produced one counter example to support the condition that the relation is not transitive also. So I have given example in all three cases that the relation is not symmetric, not transitive, not reflexive. So this question is very important. Now I will leave one question for your homework, that in my next video I am going to discuss this question, that on the set of real numbers, if I define a relation R1 as all those xy such that x is less than equal to y cube, instead of y square now I am taking y cube. Again the conclusion is same. Show that R1 is not reflexive, not symmetric, and not transitive. That means you have to give example in each subsequent case to support your argument. So student, this is something about relations and types of relation. In my next lecture I will discuss the relations on the Cartesian product, that is from n cross n or from r cross r, and then I will discuss the equivalence relation, and then I will also define what do you mean by equivalence class, which generally teachers don't teach equivalence class at 12th level, but in board curriculum it is defined that equivalence class is in your syllabus. So in my next lecture I'll do this. Thank you very much.